now have won 4 straight for the first time all season. They beat the Pelicans by 10 tonight in New Orleans. Another 30-point game for Julius Randle, 34 the other night against one of his former teams, the Lakers, 32 tonight against another of his former teams. And how about Alec Burks? 14 of his 21 in the decisive fourth quarter, and the Knicks win it 116-106. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Wally Zerbiak. Alan Hahn tonight in his home studio. Pre-game, we talked about how good New Orleans is in terms of getting points in the paint. They outscored the Knicks tonight by 20 in that category, but the Knicks hit 17 threes. And they've been struggling the last couple of games from downtown, but tonight their three-point shooting was the key to the game. It
was, and I also think, New Orleans really struggles to get out to shooters, and they allow you to get open looks. And the Knicks just had the mindset, especially early on in the game. Randle hit a couple threes in the first quarter. Hey, I'm going to knock down these shots. I'm going to get these shots. I'm going to take them. I'm going to make them. And everyone kind of followed that lead. And then Alec Burks was tremendous. The bench was phenomenal in this one. And the Knicks got a 4-game winning streak. Hey, I know someone who's really happy about that.
We all are. Alan, how's the mood at home tonight?
The mood is very good at home. I mean, when Burks hits the three-pointer with 2 minutes to go, it pretty much is that exhale moment because there were some possessions there that got dicey, as you would say, Bill. But he was fantastic late in this game. But how about this? So the Knicks shot 50%, 51.5% from three-point range. That's the 9th time this season they shot over 50% or better from three-point range. They're 9-0. So the three ball certainly is something that when they're making those shots, it's a big thing for this offense. And obviously for Alec Burks is a big night and one that he needed to have. So you're looking at the scoreboard because that's what we do now, and you see that Charlotte lost. You see that the Bulls lost again. Keep an eye on that. And Miami plays tonight in Denver. That's just underway. So as a scoreboard watching, we're looking at the standings. This is a very important road win for the Knicks, no doubt about it.
So the Knicks go 17 of 33 from downtown after going 14 for 62 in their last 2 games. And we're watching the game, and Alec Burks at the point, when he gets the high pick, does so many things off of that. He's very effective, maybe more so than any other player on the Knicks, of hitting that jump shot off that high pick. Taj Gibson is great at that. It sets him up, and it also allows him a lot of times to get to the basket. It works very well with that situation.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant use of his minutes. I mean, he didn't play a ton of minutes, 22 minutes, but he was a plus 24. And when he's in the game, coming off the bench, he has the ball in his hands most of the time. And he's a creator and a playmaker, along with a shot maker. And in the fourth quarter, he's a guy you can trust who's a veteran, who can run pick and roll. And you have a team in New Orleans who does not know how to guard the pick and roll. And it's the hardest play in the NBA to guard. And only the good defensive teams can kind of slow it down. So you got a guy like Alec Burks who can knock down threes off it, get into the paint, pull up, and also just make simple plays, not the home run pass. And there you go. What a performance. I mean, this game was solid, and the Knicks bench getting it done again. I mean, the bench numbers are phenomenal. Plus, I mean, the Knicks were plus 22, plus 24, plus 19, plus 14. I mean, the bench won this game for the Knicks far and away.
Derrick Rose had another excellent game.
Yep.
Emmanuel quickly was
yes,
very effective in the second quarter. But again, Alan, it's Julius Randle who leads the way. And as Wally mentioned, he was just on fire early, and it kind of carried over. The three-point shooting really made up for some of his other early struggles. And then in the second half, especially in the third quarter, when he scored 15 points. I should say 14 points he scored in the third quarter.
Yeah, he took off in that third quarter, but it was amazing to watch in that first quarter how he was going through the early part of that game, and it looked like he was in a great rhythm. Then you look up and you think, wait a minute, how is he 1 for 11 from 2 in this game by halftime when he looked like he was having a terrific game? It was just a matter of his three ball was going down. The other shots not as easy, but he did find his rhythm. I tell you what, guys, back-to-back 30-point games for him now, and you could see he's just kind of getting back to that player that we remember him being for most of the season after a bit of a slump, a stretch of 4 or 5 games where he just wasn't making shots. And, even energy-wise, his body didn't seem to have the same energy it had, but he sounded terrific in that post-game interview with Clyde and with Kenny. You could hear it in his voice. He feels great. He sounds great. And look at the numbers again. This is winning time in the season. This is when you start getting judged now. You're an all-star, great. Now, can you help your team win? Can you help your team? Can you lead your team to a postseason berth? These performances show you Julius Randle is trying to be all about winning, too.
Key also worth pointing out the defense in the fourth quarter. Pelicans with 89 points through 3 quarters, which is a lot of points through 3 against the Knicks. but they only scored 17 points in the final 12 minutes.
Well, that's where young players struggle. And Zion Williamson, because he can't shoot from outside, when the screws get tightened on the defensive end of the floor, and you've kind of seen his game for 3 quarters, you pack in the paint and don't let him get, into the lane and around the basket, and you can neutralize him and slow him down. Obviously, the guy for them is Brandon Ingram. He got going a little bit in the fourth quarter, but he couldn't do it alone. I just think without a point guard, Bledsoe's not really doing much in the pick and roll. You're going to struggle to get offense against a good Knick one-on-one defensive team in ISO situations, and that's why they couldn't get buckets in the fourth.
Also, guys, worth pointing out the play tonight of Reggie Bullock. So Bullock goes for 16, Burks 21, and R.J. Barrett in his first pro meeting against Zion Williamson only scored 6 points, played only 28 minutes, mainly because Bullock and Burks were so effective.
Well, that's good coaching. Tom Thibodeau sees who's got it going, and he sticks with that guy, and that's completely understandable. And I'm sure R.J. Barrett is fine with it because Bullock is a veteran, and Bullock you can trust on the defensive end of the floor, and he's going to make shots when you're left open. And I think when Randle gets it going early, you have to start doubling and really paying attention to him. That's when Bullock is going to get those looks, and he's going to cash in. And you got to put shooters around Randle. So, when R.J. Barrett isn't aggressive early and isn't going, and other guys got that 3-ball going, you go with those guys. And those guys knocked it down tonight. And Bullock and Burks and also Emmanuel Quickly knocking down those threes. 17 threes. I mean, that's a nice little victory for the Knicks.
Wally, with the way this team plays defense, if they're going to shoot that well from downtown, it's going to be very hard for them to lose.
Let's do it every night. What do you say, Bill? I mean, why not? I mean, Randle, when he trusts his jump shot, he can make threes like this. And then when he starts making it, it becomes contagious. Reggie Bullock's a almost 40% three-point shooter. Burks, when he gets an open look, he knocks him down. You got Quickly. Knicks have some shooters that they can surround Randle with. So let's start making this a common occurrence, getting 15-plus threes.
Well, the season high is 19, Allen, and again, they finished the game tonight with 17.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is really who they are, though, guys. I mean, this is nice to see on an occasion, but I mean, if you look at the month of April, a lot of their guys were not shooting the basketball very well at all. This is a team that's going to have to grind it out and play defense. The 3-pointers, that's nice, that's gravy. I mean, you'll take that, but that's not something you can expect. What you expect is the calling card of defense, which is why that 40-37 third quarter might have been entertaining for you, Wally. You love it up and down. For the rest of us, I had some anxiety. I'm like, wait, where's the defense? What's going on here? Get some stops. But they did do that. And I loved what they did against Zion. He got his minutes for sure. But Wally, when you were watching it, didn't you get that Giannis Antetokounmpo kind of feel? They just backed off and said, go ahead and shoot the 3. We want you to shoot the 3. He wouldn't do it. Then late in the game, he took a couple, and they did not look good at all. And then you start to wonder, okay, great player, puts up stats, but in the final 2 minutes, can you be a guy that can take those last-second shots like a Luka Doncic can do? And so, some other young players can show you they can do it. Giannis has not proved to be able to do it. Zion has to prove he can do it. If not, you better find yourself somebody else on your team that can. That's where the Pelicans are right now.
It's hard to believe when you look, and we can take a look at how Zion played tonight, that with all this talent, they're now 5 games under 500. You start Bledsoe, Adams, Ingram, and Williamson, and they're 5 games under 500.
Talented offensive team, but they're not a good defensive team, and that's surprising. And I hear what Alan's saying. I mean, you have a one-dimensional guy that can't keep the defense honest by making outside shots down the stretch of games. You can neutralize him, but you can't. I mean, this kid's pretty talented. I mean, he's only 20, 21 years old. I mean, he's just a man amongst boys under the paint. And if he catches the ball around the basket, he's really tough to stop. And then when he drives to the basket, I mean, he's splitting big defenders. I mean, he makes Julius Randle look small at times. So, he's got to, hopefully, for Pelicans fans, his jumper will come around and he'll improve it like R.J. Barrett's has. But for now, I mean, his numbers are always impressive on a nightly. The guy averages 27 points a game. So he's figuring out a way to score. But yes, he does remind me a lot of Giannis without that jump shot, and maybe it'll start coming in years to come.